All right, listeners, make sure you stretch for this one.
It's so good. Yeah, you have to stretch.
Everything popped. Welcome to Scary Mystery Surprise,
where we talk about scary things that surprised us around the internet.
I'm Edwin.
I'm Michelle. All right, Edwin, are you ready for a big boy?
I am ready.
Today, we're doing...
I'm so excited. I already know.
Today.
Sorry.
Edwin's ruining everything. Today, we're doing the legend of the Mothman. Da 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 da. Edwin's screen just flashed. My flashlight just turned on. And we're having some weird technical difficulties that I don't quite understand. Which is weird because this isn't about a ghost. The Mothman is not a ghost, it's a cryptid.
Maybe ghosts are jealous.
Maybe.
I'm really excited about the Mothman thing because this is one of those legends, right? That it's one of the legends.
Truly.
And a lot of people don't know a lot of info.
I feel like we've gotten more than one request about Mothman, so I'm excited to do it. Just to set the tone. The year is 1966. Edwin had just finished his shift at a local diner and was walking home on a dark, moonless night.
Cool. Am I wearing like the white cap and like...
I think so. You got the paper hat on and maybe your apron's over your shoulder. I'm imagining like a pink striped shirt on. I don't know why.
Okay.
But you're a fry cook. As he trudged along the lonely road, he suddenly noticed something moving in the sky. At first, he thought it was a bird or a bat. But as he looked closer, he realized with growing horror that it was something far more sinister. A creature unlike anything he'd ever seen before was hovering in the air above him. It was a massive humanoid figure with wings that spanned nearly 10 feet, and it had glowing red eyes that seemed to bore into Edwin's soul.
Oh man, that went straight for it. I like that.
Oh yeah, like laser beam eyes. The creature was covered in a thin layer of gray fur, and its razor-sharp talons glinted menacingly in the dim light. Edwin tried to run, but his legs felt like lead. You know, sometimes when you hear yourself talking and you're like, oh...
It's good.
It's like I'm acting. Edwin tried to run, but his legs felt like lead, and he could barely move. The creature's gaze held him transfixed, and he couldn't shake the feeling that it was waiting. As he stood frozen in terror, the creature suddenly released a blood-curdling screech that echoed through the night.
Okay, like a seahorse. Wait, a seahorse?
Yeah, just like a seahorse.
I don't know why I imagined that.
I love it. We're keeping it.
Blub, 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 blub.
This is after the screech. Edwin snapped to his senses and finally found the strength to run. His heart pounding, he could hear the creature's wings flapping behind him, getting closer and closer. He turned a corner and stumbled into an alleyway, hoping to lose the creature in the darkness. But the Mothman was too fast. It swooped down and landed on the ground in front of him, blocking his escape. Edwin was trapped. The Mothman towered over him, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Edwin could feel its hot breath on his face.
Oh, no. I wonder if it smelled like coffee breath.
The Mothman was an intense coffee drinker. His breath was thick and hot with old coffee. Stank. Originally the line was, he knew he was about to die, but I think it should just be coffee stank. Suddenly the creature lifted its massive wings and took off into the night, disappearing into the darkness. Shaken to the core, Edwin stumped back to his house, his mind racing with questions. How did I buy a house when I'm just a simple fry cook at a diner? Oh yeah, it's 1966. What was that thing? Was it real or a trick of his imagination? What did it want? And most importantly, was he safe or was the Mothman still out there?
Oh man. man. Wow. I survived.
A lot of people in Point Pleasant, West Virginia between 1966 and 1967 had reported encounters with a creature they described as the Mothman. A woman reported seeing a Mothman perched on her porch. She said the creature was peering into her house and making a high-pitched squeaking noise. And then I wrote pervert.
It just doesn't seem to fit it. That's why I was like a seahorse.
Should it be like, ah? No, that's more pervert.
No, it's just like a moth probably would squeak, right?
I imagine it being big and then it making this like,
Yeah, that's why it's like this evil-looking monster thing with wings and gargoyle type of thing. And then it's just like,
oopsie. Oopsie, sorry. I'm the Mothman.
the woman's just like, what?
I'm going to close my blinds now. Another sighting took place in January 1967. 2 volunteer firemen claimed to have seen the Mothman flying near McClintock Wildlife Management Area. They described the creature as having a wingspan of 10 feet and glowing red eyes. And in February 1967, 4 people reported seeing the Mothman near the Ohio River. They said the creature was standing near a car and was inspecting it.
Huh, so he's a mechanic?
He's like kicking the tires. He's actually interested in buying. But when they approached the creature, it flew away.
Wow.
But according to eyewitness accounts, the Mothman is described as a humanoid creature with large wings, like a bat or a bird. And it's about 6 to 7 feet tall with a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet. Its body is often described as covered in dark fur-like scales or feathers, and its eyes glow red or amber. The Mothman's appearance has been likened to that of a giant owl or bat, but with a more humanoid shape. Its wings are said to be powerful enough to enable it to fly at high speeds and perform complex aerial maneuvers.
Wow. Complex aerial maneuvers, like, watch out, Blue Angels.
In hindsight, all of these sightings in Point Pleasant seem to be building towards something. And on December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge that connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour traffic. The disaster that claimed 46 lives, many of whom were holiday shoppers traveling to and from the nearby cities. The collapse was later attributed to the bridge's suspension system, causing the bridge to collapse into the river. As many people reported seeing the Mothman in the weeks leading up to the collapse, the legend is often linked to the Silver Bridge disaster. Some believers in the Mothman say that he was a harbinger of disaster, warning the townspeople of the impending tragedy. Others think the creature was somehow responsible for the collapse through direct action or as a supernatural force. Many people continue to believe in the creature's connection to the tragedy, mainly because after the accident, sightings suddenly stopped.
Right after that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an omen, like a bad omen.
Yeah, that's what people think, is that all these sightings, like the Mothman was warning them.
Well, how would people know that that's the warning? It's like, that bridge is going to fall, but I'm just going to fly around.
Why don't you get it? I'm trying to communicate with you.
It's just trying with hand signals like, the bridge. And it looks like it's flying, but really it's just like...
And it's doing this really acrobatic dance of the sky that's like the...
It's riding it out in the sky. The...
Bridge claps. Bridge claps. Look, the Mothman has a lot of work to do. The Mothman is trying its hardest. So others believe the Mothman is benign. So there's the people that think it's linked to that tragedy, and other people just think that was a coincidence, and they think it's benign. Other people believe the Mothman is just a benign, otherworldly creature that observes humans and their behavior. Some even suggest it might be an extraterrestrial being or a creature from another dimension, which
is plausible.
It's plausible. You could always make that argument.
With everything. You could say, I'm one of those.
Literally everything. Also because West Virginia has a rich history of folklore and superstition, and many of the stories and legends passed down through generations have their roots in the region's Appalachian culture. One popular theory is that the Mothman legend may have been influenced by Native American folklore. The Shawnee tribe, known to have lived in the Point Pleasant area, has stories of a bird man who was said to have supernatural powers and could fly through the air. These stories have been passed down through generations and eventually became part of the Mothman legend, possibly.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
It would make sense. And then another factor that might have gone into the Mothman legend is that there was a bunch of UFO sightings in the 60s in the Point Pleasant area, which I just find so random. But yeah, many people in Point Pleasant reported seeing strange lights in the sky and other unexplained phenomenon during this time. And it's possible that some of these sightings were misinterpreted as Mothman encounters. So it might not have been a Mothman, it might have been an alien.
Aliens. It's the aliens. Yeah, I'm telling you, people come up with these theories, and actually I just heard something about that maybe UFOs and all these ghosts and paranormal type of things, there might just be one category, basically interdimensional.
I think I land in that camp. I think interdimensional beings is like where I land a lot of the time.
It makes sense. You think like ghosts are these like old-fashioned people that used to live there, and then maybe the aliens are the future version where they're just like have all this high tech and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, I just would say they're just not in our dimension. They might not be in each other's dimension, but they aren't supposed to be in ours, and they cross sometimes. At least that's what my current theory is right now.
It's a good theory. Or that theory that you said with the like Bigfoot, which was maybe. Oh, did I say that? I don't know.
I think you did Bigfoot. I think you did Bigfoot. Yeah, he's an interdimensional being.
Yeah, or maybe it was just an experiment. Or maybe we're experiments, like alien experiments, and they're just around. And they come up with creatures that are like, oh, we messed up on that one. It wasn't supposed to have wings. And it wasn't supposed to, do this.
It's supposed to have a head, but it doesn't.
It's like they messed up put a little too much moth in it.
Yeah. Oh, we got the moth balance wrong. We got it we're not doing this again. This is way too much. Also, It's super empathetic and tries to warn people. It's just a little too much. The Mothman legend may have also been perpetuated by the media and by people looking to profit off the story. After the initial sightings, the story was picked up by newspapers and television stations and quickly spread beyond the boundaries of Point Pleasant. So, which has led to the legend growing and sightings from around the world, which are all more recent, which is surprising. So in 2011, a group of teenagers claimed to have seen a Mothman-like creature in Colorado. They described the creature as 7 feet tall with glowing eyes and a large wingspan of about 10 feet.
So the exact same description?
Yeah, none of them vary that much. In 2016, a man in Chicago claimed to have seen a Mothman-like creature perched on a building near Lake Michigan. He described the creature as 6 feet tall with a wingspan of 8 feet and glowing red eyes. And then in 2019, a woman in Florida reported seeing a large creature described as looking like something out of a horror movie. And she said the creature had glowing eyes and a wingspan of 7 feet. Okay, I get it. But also, if he's supposed to be warning you of bad things that are going to happen, how does he even decide anymore? What bad things he's going to warn about? I think the poor guy's exhausted. I think he's probably warning people about them locking their keys in their car or something.
Poor guy just working overtime. Hey guys, I'm back.
Don't go on the bridge. There are some kind of notable hoaxes where people have created a Mothman or faked a photo, but my favorite hoax was in 2011, a group of pranksters in Maryland created a fake Mothman statue and placed it near a local bridge, which is like douchey, hoping to fool drivers into thinking they'd actually seen the creature.
Oh, no.
They said a group of pranksters, but I'd like to call them little shits.
Not good. Not good. It reminds me of those Christmas decorators. Like this one guy put like a Santa Claus. It was a figure, like a mannequin looking thing of himself or like of a man hanging off of his roof. People call the police because of it.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
That's terrible.
What could it be that people are mistaking for the Mothman? And so the most commonly cited animal that people think is the Mothman, but then gets confirmed later is not, is the Sandy Hill crane, a large bird with a wingspan of 7 feet. Sandy Hill cranes have distinctive red patches on their heads, which could be mistaken for glowing red eyes, reported in some Mothman sightings. They can also make loud, high-pitched calls, which could be misinterpreted as Mothman's eerie squeaks. So...
Well, that sounds like that's it. I want to look at a picture of this. What are they called again?
It's called a Sandy Hill crane.
Sandy Hill crane. That's a crane. Oh, but if you see it like standing up.
Yeah, if you saw it like standing up. Maybe if
you'd have to be really drunk.
Maybe at night or something? I know what a crane looks like, so I don't know if I'd ever be like, oh, that's a Mothman. I'd be like, no, that's a crane. What a cool crane.
Huh. When you look at it when it's just standing there.
Yeah. Does it tuck its head in like that so you can't see its head?
No, I mean, from the pictures that I see, no, it's just hanging out.
Huh.
That's what I was imagining. If it does its head like that, and you see the two spots or whatever, or the red
Yeah, that's why I was thinking like, oh, it could be like a vulture. Because vultures have those huge wingspans, and then they sit all hunched. From a distance, that could look like what a Mothman is described as. Also, barn owls are suspected of being Mothman as well, because nocturnal birds with their heart-shaped faces and large, mighty wings.
How big are they?
They can get pretty big, and they fly low to the ground.
Oh, okay. See, that one looks more human-y.
Yeah, it looks like if you saw that at night, you'd think it was something that didn't have a head, especially if its wings were out.
Uh-huh.
You could see it be all necklace. It's necklace. Barn owls have no necks.
God, that is creepy. Look how it does its eyes.
Yeah, that would be creepy if you didn't know what an owl was and it was just looking at you like that, and then it did its high-pitched, like, screech. Because owls screech, too.
That's right. Oh, have you ever seen those big old bats? I don't know if they're faked.
I don't think those bats live in West Virginia, though. But barn owls sure would.
I just can't believe these things exist.
What, the bats or the owls?
Oh, man. Maybe, okay, but yeah, you're right. They wouldn't be in West Virginia. Right there, you would only see whatever animals you see there. You probably have more wildlife than here.
But also that area, they lump, like in a lot of my research, they lump the chupacabra and the Jersey Devil and the Mothman all together as weird like cryptids that live in that area or have been spotted in that area too, which I was like, oh, chupacabra, why is that lumped in there? But it's just, I guess, the same genus of cryptid.
Goodness, that reminds me, somebody said, or I saw this on Twitter about chupa. Just the word chupa, like as a movie title, but chupa means suck, and it's coming out on Netflix. Chupa, like the no, who authorized, who checked this, who was like, yeah, this is a good idea.
There could be a movie just called Suck.
And there's a little boy like an animal.
Yeah, you're right. That might not have been run by the right people.
Who approved this?
There might not have been anyone that speaks Spanish in that room.
Why chupa? Does that mean something?
Chupa? No, not in English, no.
But what
it
if
would be
like
the name. I bet it's the name of the creature. They just call him Chupa.
I hope it's not. I hope we're not making fun of a Native American name or some like a sacred.
I don't think so. I don't think so, but I guarantee you no one that speaks Spanish was in that room. That was like, let's in the brainstorm room, and they're like, what are we going to call this movie? I know, Suck. And then we're going to put a little boy on the cover.
Anyway.
Despite the tragic events in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1967, the Mothman legend has become a significant draw for tourism in the area. The town actually hosts an annual Mothman festival. It has statues, a 5K run, and a Mothman museum. if you need to go. I guess the festival's in September. So
Nice. Actually, I am interested in going there because I know that place is known for the Mothman. And that's actually the only reason why I would ever
I
go
think
there.
the only reason anybody goes there is because it is known for the Mothman, which is fascinating because they did the whole story like creates meaning out of meaningless tragedy. Like it's almost like a comfort. Like they were like, oh, this creature. You don't have to think about how sad the bridge tragedy is. You think about the creature instead, which I don't know. Are you comforted by the thoughts of the Mothman? Is he comforting or scary to you?
Scary, but also it's such a common. Like I've heard of that story so much and that character that it's one of those like a base. Like you always go to that one, or like you can branch off of it. But yeah, no. If I were to bump into something like that, I'd be freaked out. No doubt. And I do believe in the whole omen thing. Yeah, it could have been something like that. And also, it might have been something else. Because it's not just us that talk about the Mothman and flying creatures and things. Other cultures mention weird creatures that fly around. We just did a story on somebody saw somebody flying around. And at night, it was like this, like you could hear the wings.
Oh, shit.
And somebody had a ritual to get rid of those things, tying a knot, literally a shoelace, took it out of the shoe. And it was like a person's grandma just did like a prayer, tied a thing, and then just really tightened the knot. And the thing flew out of the sky and just crashed to the ground.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and like supposedly this is a real thing, witnessed by several people. So creatures like that have that safe like level of, okay, might be real. Like I don't go full bore like this is fake, but no, this might be real. So Mothman might be something like that. I don't know.
I like that idea. I feel like the Mothman that has sprung out of the legend, that guy, he's worn out. I feel like that guy's I feel like the story you just told, that's like a legit creature that's in the night, and maybe the Mothman started out like that, but now this Mothman, he's like, all I do is watch 24-hour news cycle, and I'm so depressed.
Just smoking a cigarette.
He's like, drinking his coffee, and he's just, I can't even, nobody listens to me. How do I even go warn anybody? And he's just...
People think I'm a seahorse.
I think he just needs some self-care, maybe like a vacation or something. But he can't go anywhere without people freaking out about him being an omen. I don't know what he's going to do.
I always think of how people name these things and like how much we develop just based on how the story develops based on that story. Yeah, the Mothman. But what if they would have called it something else? Like the flying creature of Point Pleasant.
Like just the Birdman of Point Pleasant.
Because I always find moths dumb. Like they just...
Yeah, don't turn on your porch light because they'll just crash into it all night until they die.
I used to be able to just grab them. I used to be like, why don't you fly away? What are you doing in my hand? I could just kill you right now.
Maybe there's been tons of Mothmen because they keep flying into lights. Flying into lights all over the city. Actually, that's why we don't have Mothmen anymore, is because light pollution. So they can't find their way to warn us about tragedy because they keep flying into lights, the street lights.
I'm telling you, we're killing everything. All of our biodiversity.
Our cryptids are in danger, folks.
So disappointed in us.
That's what we're all about, is bring that energy down. Not only are real animals being killed, but our cryptids are dying too.
I was spotting a pattern here in the show. We're just like...
We're killing off our cryptids. Climate change
We're just $1 a day.
Yeah, for $1 a day. You'll save our cryptids and the planet.
Just turn off your lights, guys.
Turn off your lights for the Mothman. Turn off your lights for the Mothman.
Imagine that scene though, like you're in your room and through the window you just see like the Mothman. Like
he's just standing out. No, he's just hitting the window like a moth does, and he's just like flying into. Why is it bright? Let me in. And the woman's no, and then just closes the blind.
Oh, no.
100%. I'm not letting you in.
That's why they should have just called it something else. But I always thought as a kid it was just a ripoff of Batman.
That's fair.
I think that one town, Point Pleasant, definitely it's it should take advantage more of the Mothman, like Bigfoot.
I think they have. I literally cut down the paragraph about like the Mothman Festival. They have a
Wow.
cosplay event. They have a statue. They have the museum. They have
Okay,
tours.
see now that sounds cool because you painted it as like, yeah, you have a museum and a 5K, and I'm like, okay, no way I'm going to a 5K.
They like have a whole festival of it. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And I was like, I don't want to give this like tourism bump. This episode was sponsored by Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
It was not. But yeah, see, that's why when you said, oh, statues, I just thought, oh, people are pulling up with their statues and they're just on the side of the road displaying them.
It's legit the icon of the city. They've made it their thing.
Wow, okay.
I don't know. They certainly capitalized on their Mothman tragedy, though. They certainly turned lemons into lemonade.
I dig it. That thing was, the Mothman's one of those icons to me that
It's an icon. I felt like we needed an icon.
maybe I'm running 5Ks by that time and at least is,
Maybe. And you could do the Mothman 5K?
there you go. I
That's a
could dress
goal to
up.
aspire to. Yeah, in the Mothman, really thick Mothman costume. So it's and your head is covered, and it's just your eyes. It's like Edwin's really dedicated to running in those wings.
Extended 10-foot wings as I'm just bumping into everybody. I'm just like a liability.
But only other people who are also cosplaying, so everybody's got a 10-foot wing span.
It's just slowing you down, like with the parachute effect. You're like, no.
Oh my God. The slowest 5K you've ever seen in your life. Be sure to rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and tell a friend, you guys. Share it. Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Just let someone know. If they want to listen to something cool and you want to be cool too, just share it. That's a cool
Share
thing to
it. Send in your ideas. This was a listener idea. Several listeners' ideas. So send in your idea. We love to hear them, and we'll do an episode eventually.
do. Let us know. Let us know. It will surprise you.
So anyway, what are we going to talk about next week, Edwin?
I don't know. I think it'll be a surprise. I really don't know, actually. I thought it was ghosts or something. But
Well, I hope it's ghost.
see you guys.
Bye.